Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for a minute of silence.
Good evening. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Friends, community leaders, rabbis, and distinguished guests. On behalf of the Zionist Council of New South Wales, I welcome you all here tonight to our communal Yom Hazikaron commemoration. I would like to extend a special welcome to the Ambassador of Israel, Amir Maimon, Ro Knox, Liberal candidate for Wentworth, the Honourable Susan Carter, Member of the New South Wales Legislative Council, the Honourable Damien Tudhope, Member of the New South Wales Legislative Council, and Zvika Fogel, Member of the Israeli Knesset and retired Brigadier General. I would also like to acknowledge and thank our major event partner, JNF, our ongoing major sponsor, UIA, the Australian Jewish News, ZDVO, Wheatso, and Central Synagogue. Tonight, we gather together as a community to remember, to mourn, and to honour. We remember the 25,420 young men and women, our fallen soldiers who sacrificed their lives. These heroes came from different communities and faiths, united in their mission to defend the State of Israel. We remember the 5,229 civilians murdered in acts of terror. And we pray for the safety of Israel's defence forces and for the return of all the hostages. Since Simchat Torah, since that Black Shabbat on October 7, every day has carried the ache of mourning, has felt like Yom Hazikaron. The siren no longer lasts for just a minute, but echoes endlessly for all of us every day. Tonight, we bow our heads for the soldiers and brave civilians who ran towards fire, for the families burnt to dust, for the victims of unspeakable acts of depravity, including rape and torture, for the music lovers who once danced in peace, for the hostages tortured and murdered, for the kibbutzniks defending their homes with their bare hands, for the paramedics and volunteers who bravely walked into chaos. We remember them all as lives filled with promise, each one an unfinished story. Stories of those who never found love or saw their children grow up or fulfilled their dreams. And the truth is that those brave soldiers and citizens who fought back with all their might, with everything they had, not only sacrificed their lives for the survival of Israel's citizens, they also sacrificed their lives for all of us, for our freedom. When Israel was attacked on October 7, it was more than an act of war. It was a barbaric assault on the very notion that Jewish life has value, that Jewish freedom matters, that the citizens of Israel and the Jewish people have a right to live safely, proudly, and without apology. And in the wake of that horror, while we were burying our dead and searching for our children, the world failed us. Except for a few brave voices, we watched, stunned, as silence swept across the places we once felt safe. We heard justifications for murder, we saw placards glorifying pain, and we recognised again that anti-Semitism doesn't hide, it simply waits. But tonight we don't come together in despair, we come together with resolve, because the legacy of those we have lost is not only to be mourned, it is to be carried. It is a call to be brave and stand up for the truth even when it is difficult. To never be indifferent even when it costs us. To teach our children not only to remember but to act. To stand proudly as Zionists and to show the world that our pain will not make us small, it will make us stronger. We take our example from Israel's army reservists, hundreds of thousands of ordinary Israelis, teachers, doctors, engineers, musicians, parents, who dropped everything, flew home, left their families, and ran towards danger after October 7. They showed us what true devotion and love for Israel looks like. They reminded us that Israel's strength, its survival, lies in its people. And so tomorrow night, as the sun sets, we will immediately, without pause, transition into Yom Hazikaron, Israel's 77th Independence Day. We will sing, we will dance, and we will celebrate. Not in spite of our mourning, but because of it. Because those we remember and honour tonight who have sacrificed their lives have given us that privilege, have enabled us to celebrate. We always say, Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live. But those words are not just a slogan, they are an oath, a promise to the fallen soldiers and victims of terror that we will continue. We will speak out, we will stand strong and proud, and we will always remember them. May the memory of the fallen be a blessing, and may we prove ourselves worthy of their sacrifice. Thank you.
Ey Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamedromim Hamse Menucha Nechona Ale Kanfei Ashkina B'malot Kiddushim U'Torim Ki Zohar Harakiya Miri נשמות חיילי צבא הגנה לישראל, ואת נשמות אנשי כוחות הביטחון, ואת נשמות נפגעי הטרור, שמסרו את נפשם על קדושת השם, העם והארץ, בעבור שבני משפחתם וכל הקהל הקדוש הזה מתפללים לעילוי נשמתם בגן עדן תהי מנוחתם. לכן בעל רחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום על משכבם, ונאמר אמן.
יזכור עם ישראל את בניו ובנותיו הנאמנים והאמיצים, חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל, וכל לוחמי המחתרות וחטיבות הלוחמים במערכות העם, ואנשי קהילת המודיעין, הביטחון, המשטרה ושירות בתי הסוהר, אשר חירפו נפשם במלחמה על תקומת ישראל, וכל מי שנרצחו בארץ ומחוצה לה בידי מרצחים מארגוני הטרור. יזכור ישראל ויתברך בזרעו, ויאבל על זיו העלומים, וחמדת הגבורה וקדושת הרצון ומסירות הנפש של הנספים במערכה הכבדה. יהיו חללי מערכות ישראל, עטורי הניצחון, חתומים בלב ישראל לדור ודור. Please be seated. Erev Tov, good evening. Once a year, the State of Israel poses to mark Yom Hazikaron, our national memorial day. But for me, and for so many others, remembrance is not confined to a single day. For us, every day is Memorial Day. There is not a morning we wake or a night we lie down without remembering those we have lost, our loved ones, our friends, and family members, the brave souls who gave their lives so that we can live, so that Israel can exist. Yom Hazikaron is the day when personal grief becomes a shared experience, when a nation's heart beats as one, and soon, across Israel, a siren will sound. For 2 minutes, everything will come to a halt. The noise will stop, the streets will still, and in that silence, we will remember together. For as long as I can recall, the name Yaakov was ever present in my childhood home. It was my uncle, my late father's elder brother, though I never had the privilege of knowing him. His photograph hung on our walls. His name was spoken with reverence and love, and his memory was alive every single day. Yaakov fell on January 9, 1948. It was a Friday. That morning, he sent word to my grandmother, his mother, that he was coming home for a short break and bringing his laundry for her to wash before Shabbat. She waited and waited and waited, but the message that came to her door was not from her son. It was the heartbreaking news that Yaakov would never return home. He and 10 of his comrades were ambushed and murdered near the city of Ashdod, now remembered as the 11th of Rishon LeZion. His body was held for days before it could be brought back home. As a child, it was difficult, deeply difficult, and at times overwhelming to constantly see the names of my own family members etched into memorials across the country. Their sacrifices were not just part of national history, they were part of my own personal story. Yaakov's name is etched into the memorials in Rishon LeZion, in Ashdod, at the Givati Brigade Museum, and in the hearts of those who loved him. Alongside him is another name I grew up hearing often, my late father's first cousin, Farchi Cohen, another life taken in defense of our homeland. My father, a lifelong officer in the IDF, would often speak of the friends and soldiers he had lost. As a child, I would watch the way he spoke of them, not with grand words, but with quiet sorrow, as if their names lived just beneath the surface of every breath. When I joined the army, like every young Israeli, I too lost friends, friends who will forever remain young. For me, the landscape of Israel is not just a geography, it's a map of memory. Kobi from Haifa, Moshe from Tiberia, Hanan from Netanya, Eyal from Petach Tikva, Erez from Nir Banim, Uri from Beersheba, and so many more, each one with a face, a laugh, a story, each one a hole in someone's world. Military service in Israel is not just compulsory, it is a way of life. When Israeli parents send their children to the army, they do so knowing in the deepest corners of their heart that they may not come back home. That's a reality no parent should face, and yet they do it because defending Israel is not a choice, it is a necessity. When my own children enlisted, I finally understood what my parents must have felt when I put on the uniform for the first time. And yet, we do it. We do it because we believe in something bigger than ourselves. And we do it because we hold one unbreakable promise that we do not leave anyone behind. Not in battle, not in grief, not in memory. That is why, even as I speak to you tonight, it is so painful to say there are still 59 Israelis being held hostage in Hamas terror dungeons. Our moral duty and obligation is not done. Our grief is not past. We say their names, we pray for their return, and we fight to bring them home. This Yom Hazikaron carries a particular weight. On October 7th, my family lost two more of our own. My relatives, Shalom Maor of the ISA and Ido Harush from the IDF Armored Corps. They died defending their fellow Israelis on that dark and brutal day. Their courage is internal, their memory sacred. I want to share one more image with you from my grandparents' neighbors who wrote a letter of condolence after my uncle Yaakov was killed. They wrote, "This was a worthy sacrifice for the land we love so dearly. There are some who question why Yom Hazikaron and Yom Ha'atzmaut are joined, why we move from mourning into music and dance. But I believe they must remain together because the price paid by the fallen, by Yaakov, by Farchi, by my father's comrades, by the friends I've lost, is what allows us to live, to celebrate, to build. Yom HaZikaron gives Yom HaAtzmaut its meaning. This year, we mourn 25,420 fallen soldiers and 5,229 victims of terror who gave their lives for the state of Israel and for the Jewish people. And even in the last few days, we have added 2 more names to this sacred list: IDF Captain Ido Volach and Police Sergeant Neta Yitzhak Khan, both killed while protecting our nation. Their sacrifices will never be forgotten. Yehi Zichram Baruch.
ותכלת חלקת שלום ישנה נומי פרח נומי ילדה קטנה את החיים לקחו לך מלחמות קדושות מלאכים בחו לך בעיניים יבשות את חיוכך תינוקת קברו באדמה איך צומח שקט מתוך המהומה מי שלחץ על הדק דם את ליבו מחתים כי במלחמות לצדק גם ילדים מתים את החיים לקחו לך מלחמות קדושות מלאכים בחו לך בעיניים יבשות שם בעפר ותכלת חלקת שלום ישנה נומי פרח נומי ילדה קטנה
My name is Ari Schlesinger. I made Aliyah from the US, joining the IDF as a lone soldier. I served 3 years as a combat soldier in a unit called Egoz. After finishing my mandatory service, I continued to serve in the reserve forces within the IDF. Since the events of October 7th, I've served over 300 days of reserve duty with my unit in both Gaza and Lebanon. These past 2 years, we have all relearned the meaning of sacrifice, and I'm very proud to be here today in your community as a representative of the IDF. Today, we gather to commemorate Yom Hazikaron, Israel's Memorial Day for fallen soldiers and victims of terrorism. This day is not just a date on the calendar. It is a sacred time for reflection, remembrance, and honor. As a soldier who served in the Israel Defense Forces, this day resonates with me deeply, and I'm sure it does for many of you as well. Yom Hazikaron is a day where we pause to remember the brave souls who laid down their lives to protect our homeland. Each fallen soldier is more than just a name. They are our brothers, sisters, fathers, and mothers. They are the dreams that were never realized and the future that were stolen from us. We stand here today, united in our grief and our gratitude, to honor their sacrifices. When I reflect on my service in the IDF and the reserves, I am reminded of the profound nature of sacrifice, not just my own, but that of an entire nation. This sacrifice embodies the commitment to better our community, often placing the needs of others before our own immediate desires. Interestingly, by prioritizing the collective over the individual, I have found that I too have benefited in meaningful ways. Voluntary self-sacrifice forms the foundation of the Jewish nation, highlighting how acts of selflessness can strengthen our bonds, connect us to the Jewish land, and enrich our shared experience. One of the most common questions I've encountered during my 10 years in Israel and my involvement in the IDF is why I chose to come to Israel, and continue my participation in the army. I don't often engage in answering that question fully, but I always find myself pondering, if not me, then who? If everyone waited until it was comfortable to commit, then no one would step forward. The reality is that meaningful contributions often come with discomfort, and every individual who plays their part is significant. After October 7th, and during my time in Gaza, I encountered a profound new definition of sacrifice. The challenges I faced as a lone soldier, leaving my family behind, now seem trivial in comparison to the intensity of the sacrifices that unfolded alongside my comrades. Losing friends and fellow members of my unit, Elkanah and Dan, reshaped my understanding of sacrifice. This experience has solidified my commitment to honor their memories and the sacrifices made by all who serve. As we recite the names of those we have lost, we reflect on the courage and dedication that these individuals have shown. They responded to the call, and they did so with a spirit of love for their country and for its people. They believed in a vision of a safe and secure Israel, and their commitment to that vision inspires us to continue the fight for peace and security. In closing, let us remember the fallen with love and respect. May their memories be a blessing, and may we continue to strive for a future where their sacrifices were not in vain. Toda rabba.
My dear friends, today we remember the legacy of our beautiful nephew, Zamir Burke, a beating heart of good, who served in combat engineering in the 601st Battalion, and to our greatest regret fell in the northern Gaza Strip on the 29th of November last year. As it says in the Mishnah, each person is an entire world, and our world was shattered when we received the news at 3 a.m. Australia time that Zamir was killed. As if it was not hard enough to carry the collective grief and fear as a Jew since the 7th of October, receiving this news, it felt like the world spinning around and swallowing you up, where one could no longer think, function, or breathe. This was the feeling of losing something so precious, of such a loss that one can never truly recover from. Zamir was an incredibly special soul, and he left behind a deep, quiet, but powerful legacy. One that is not expressed in noise or publicity, but deeply touched the hearts of all those around him. On hearing the news, a mother of one of Zamir's close friends, whose son was also in the IDF, Gila Isaacson, said, "Zamir was everything we hope our children will grow up to be. At just 20, he was already exceptional, a brilliant mind with a gift for mathematics and physics, matched by a soul that understood the deepest meaning of friendship and duty. He played guitar, bringing music into the lives of all those around him. His generosity wasn't just a trait, it was a way of life." A combat engineer's role is one of the most dangerous in battle. They enter the battle zone first into the unknown to clear the way for other soldiers. Zamir was acutely aware of the danger of his work, but he never complained. He had several opportunities to change roles, but he always said, "Why should someone else be put in this kind of danger?" His greatest pride was the day his team found one of the kidnapped hostages. Looking for the hope of finding more hostages is what kept him going, and his motivation to work hard. As a mefaked of his unit, he looked out for his chayalim, and he put their needs before his own. He often sacrificed his own safety for them, and this was the understated heroism of my 20-year-old nephew. As Jewish people, we must thrive and survive and follow the example of those like Zamir, who believed there needs to be good in the world and that people need to do good. During Zamir's Shiva, we heard from Zamir's Chayalim, who were distraught at losing their much-loved commander. Zamir's Chayalim spoke in detail about his kindness and his values. They spoke about his unwavering commitment to Judaism and being a good person. He kept Shabbat whenever the war allowed for it, and even fasted on Yom Kippur, despite being told he doesn't have to. They spoke about his insistence of speaking to each other respectfully in a refined way and banning any swearing or bad language. After his family, Zamir's truest love was volunteering in an organization called Et La'asot, similar to Friendship Circle here in Sydney. They support children with special needs with camps and programs. And after a few short years as a volunteer, he rose to general manager of Et La'asot and even had ambitions to one day open his own centre with his sister, who is a social worker. Every time Zamir was released from the army for Shabbat, he would go and see his chanichim before anything else. He approached them with dignity, gently and respectfully. He knew how to listen, understand, and provide a sense of calm and security, and most of all, make them feel equal, loved, and valuable. This was not a mission. It stemmed from his heart, naturally, and during the Shiva, one of the children with Down syndrome brought me a specially designed stone to put on his grave. He insisted on sleeping with a photo of Zamir next to his bedside every night because he missed him so much. Zamir was a brilliant student. His academic excellence did not make him arrogant, quite the opposite. He was the one who always helped others, patiently explained, supported, and guided. Every friend he knew, if something was not understood, turned to Zamir, and he will always answer patiently, always modestly. And not only to his friends, he'd help his friends' brothers and sisters. He saw the need, and he answered it. Without them seeing, without them knowing, that was his way, to give, simply to give. Within the family, among friends, and within this community, Zamir was a quiet pillar of light. As a teenager, before he joined the army, he grew his hair long. Not a fashion statement or sign of rebellion, but to be able to cut it and donate it to children with cancer as part of the Zichron Menachem Foundation. Today, his mother, Tammy, and his sisters, Me'el, Adva, and Lily, are learning to walk this new, painful path, not by forgetting Zamir, but by carrying forward his lessons. Traveling through Israel, one can't miss all the memorial stickers all over the bus and train stations, park benches, and random buildings. They're everywhere, with a photograph and an inspiring phrase of the fallen. The goal of these stickers is to remember, learn, and educate the next generation. When you go next, look for Zamir, and you will find his words. Continue to add light and to do good, the smile and the light that the whole world will remember. Make no mistake, our freedom here in Sydney as Jews are thanks to Zamir and thousands like him who have made the ultimate sacrifice. It's thanks to them that Israel exists. The loss that he has left behind him is great and painful, but along with him, a great light also remains. The memory of a 20-year-old who worked his entire short life for others, quietly, humbly, and with true love. And perhaps the greatest legacy that Zamir left us is the inspiration to try each in our own way to be a little bit more like him. May Zamir's memory be tender and his love remain engraved in the hearts of everyone who had the privilege of knowing him. Yehi Zichro Baruch.
אם הוא היה שולח לבבות, זה תמיד היה או כחול או צהוב, כי הוא מאוד אהב את מכבי. אבל עכשיו הלב נהיה כתום, כי זה איזשהו משהו של רותם שהולך איתנו כל הזמן.
ומאז עצוב ושונה כאן הייתי מוסיף לתאר רק שאתה לא מוכן.
רותם לוי, האוהדים של מכבי תל אביב עם המחווה הזה.
We are here in an elementary school in Gaza City. You can see the school right here. And inside the school, there is an entrance to a tunnel.
תגלה לנו איך אפשר לחייך גם כשקשה עדיין.
אני יכול לספר לך איזה סיפור שסיפר חייל שלו כשבא לשבעה, שככה באחד הלילות הוא עמד ליד רותם והיה חושך והוא שבר סטיקלייט בשביל לנסות שיהיה אור, והסטיקלייט לא עבד. הוא אמר לרותם, אוף, נמאס כבר, מה זה החושך הזה? למה אין פה אור? ואז הוא אומר, רותם בשקט הנפשי שלו עם חיוך, ככה הסתובב אחורה ואמר לו, אתה רואה את האורות של נחל עוז? זה האור שלנו.
תכננו להמשיך את החיים, כאילו רותם רצה ללמוד רפואה, תכננו לגור באיזה יישוב, תכננו להביא ילדים ולהיות הורים. כן, ברור. זה אחד הדברים שממש כואבים לי. שרותם לא יזכה להיות אבא ולראות את הילדים, ולא יזכה לחתן את הילדים, ולא יזכה לעצמו.
ביום שזה קרה, מלאו 30 למישהו אחר בצקה, קצין אצל רותם, רועי ביבר. והוא היה בתוך עזה, אז אני הלכתי במקומו ל30 בבית העלמין. ולמעשה, זה כבר היה אחרי האירוע, אבל אני לא ידעתי. באתי לחבק את קרן, אימא שלו, ובעצם לא ידעתי שאני כמוה.
ואת כל הכבוד הראוי בעולם מגישים לך למעלה, אחרת לא היית מוסיף לחייך אליי ביום ובלילה, כל הזמן, ביום ובלילה, כל הזמן.
Hi everyone. My name is Dvir Tovi. I am the Beitar and Jewish Agency Shaliach in Australia. But most of all, I am one of the lucky people who got to call Rotem my dearest friend. Don't get me wrong, I'm so honored to be standing here, but it's also the last thing I want to do right now. I would like to share with you a quick story I wrote. I remember the last time we saw Rotem, just a little over a week before he died in Gaza. Rotem had returned after a few intense weeks, serving as a Mempei Miluim in Yalom. Every normal person would just want to rest after leaving Gaza, but not Rotem. Rotem, as always, didn't skip a beat. He wrote to all of us, guys, I'm out of Gaza. Tonight, after dinner, everyone is coming for a yeshiva. Rotem loved to give, to host, loved to love. We met up late Friday night, after all the family Shabbat dinners. We sat in his and Shrom's house, and we just were. We were in a good place. There was a truly special atmosphere, full of laughter, love, and calmness. We valued that time together so much, especially knowing how quickly things can change during the Miluim. But we were sure it wouldn't reach us. We stayed until the early hours of the morning, and I remember we didn't want the night to end. I remember giving Rotem that final hug, not letting go. None of us did. It was as we knew, as we felt, this might be the last time we see him. We said goodbye, and Rotem said something like, same thing in 2 weeks, yeah? And we all laughed and replied, of course, what else? Who knew that would be the last time we hugged him? Then came that day. One of our friends wrote in the group chat, I don't even know how to say this. Our Gingy died in Gaza. Rotem was redhead, so we called him Gingy, obviously. It was a Monday evening. My unit had just finished Miluim a couple of days ago. We were already settling back into the new routine, into the new life. And then that message. the one that changed our life forever. We knew right away we couldn't be alone. We went to meet up in a lookout spot in our town, a place we used to sit often. Slowly, excuse me for a second. Slowly, friends began arriving from all over the country, from various bases where they have been stationed. We started gathering at the lookout. We couldn't believe Gingy was gone. It took several hours until everyone arrived, and suddenly, we were all there. Everyone, partners and wives, joined, and we all just sat there together. I can't even start to explain what it felt like. After many hugs and many stories we shared about Rotem, we received our biggest sign. Suddenly, my girlfriend Mai said to me, "Dvir, look at the moon." And then we all turned our gaze into the sky and saw the moon was hanging there, a crescent moon, like a smile in the sky, and it was orange, just like Gingy. An orange moon like we had never seen before. To all of us, it was crystal clear. Rotem was smiling down at us from above. The orange smiling moon. The orange moon became a symbol for anyone who knew Rotem. A symbol of love, respect, pain, unity, support. All the qualities that Rotem had. It also became a symbol of the stuff we took upon ourselves, that we understood that it's up to us to spread Rotem's light through us, to share his values, and to make sure we always stay in perspective and appreciate what we have. The orange moon is a symbol of hope, of rebuilding, of strength, all that Rotem was. Rotem, Ach Sheli, our Gingy, our orange moon. Thank you for everything. Thank you for always being there when we needed you. Thank you for walking beside us, both in life and beyond. Thank you for the moments we shared, your love, your goodness. Thank you for being you. I love you, and I will remember you forever. Achi, Rotem, Lanetzach.
It's hard to follow with words. Erev Tov, Kvod HaShagrir, Amir, ladies and gentlemen, and can I also welcome so many of my rabbinical colleagues. Don't remember seeing so many of them all coming together tonight. Since October 7th, more than 891 soldiers, 832 civilians have been killed. The highest military death toll Israel's ever had since 1973 in the Yom Kippur War. As I recite a chapter of Tehillim in honor of these precious and beloved souls, here are three very short meditations to perhaps reflect on. Number one, each victim is an entire world. We've heard it tonight. When a single soldier falls, so many lives are shattered. Parents who have lovingly raised their child, widows who have now lost their life partners, orphans growing up without the love and the guidance of a beloved parent, bereaved siblings, cousins, and as we just heard, lifelong friends. Israel is a tiny country, and the Jewish people We're just one tiny family. We feel each other's pain, and because of that, we mourn together. And tonight, we pray for the hostages still languishing in the hellish tunnels in Gaza. We pray for the thousands that are wounded and whose lives will never be the same, and they often don't get enough of the attention. And of course, we pray that this empathy will help heal our divisions and help keep us united at a very fragile time in Israel. Number two, the power and price of being Jewish. Jews in Israel and around the world are being attacked simply for being Jewish. And when a Jew is murdered, for this alone, it underscores the sacred uniqueness of our people. A Jew must never feel ashamed. Our mission is to live in a way that causes others to respect our dignity, depth, and beauty of God and Judaism. During the Shoah, a Jew was being savagely beaten by a Nazi who sneered at him, "How do you like being a Jew now?" And the Jew looked up and replied, "I'd rather be in my position than in yours." On Yom Hazikaron, we hold our heads high, proud to be Jewish, and proud of what that means even during these most trying times. And finally, number three, know what you are living for. The soldiers defending Israel are putting everything aside. Of course, career and comfort, and as we heard tonight, even life itself, to protect us, to protect the Jewish people. And as our sages wisely taught, if you don't know what you're willing to die for, you haven't yet discovered what you're really living for. And so if ultimately we know that we are willing to give up life itself to defend our Jewish people, then we should proactively and passionately also live for our Jewish people. Let's stand up for Judaism. Let's appreciate the beauty, the wisdom, and the depth of what it means to be a Jew. That's what it means to be truly alive. It was Ben Zussman, an IDF soldier who was killed in Gaza, who wrote a letter to his family before entering battle. "I am grateful," he wrote, "for the privilege to protect our beautiful land and the people of Israel. Even if something happens to me, I am full of pride and a sense of mission." On Yom Hazikaron, we remember just that, the eternal mission that so many have been willing to give their life for. And if we are lucky enough not to die for it, may we truly be lucky enough to live passionately for it. Yehi Zichram Baruch, Am Yisrael Chai. Shir Lamalot Esainaya Laharim, Me'ayin Yavo Azri, Ezri Me'im Adinoi Oseh Shemayim Va'aretz, Al Yitein Lamoit Raglecha, Al Yanum Shomrecha, Hinei lo yanum v'lo yishon shomei Yisrael, Adonai shemrecha, Adonai tzilcha yad yiminecha, Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka v'yareach b'layla, Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, Yishmor et nafshecha, Adonai yishmor tzedcha ve'acha, me'ata v'yad olam. Kindly take a seat.
כשאמות משהו ממני, משהו ממני ימות בך, ימות בך. כשתמות משהו ממך בי, משהו ממך בי ימות איתך, ימות איתך. כי כולנו, ככולנו, כולנו רקמה אנושית אחת חיה, ואם אחד מאיתנו הולך מעימנו, משהו מת בנו, משהו נשאר איתו. אם נדע איך להרגיע, איך להרגיע את האיבה, אם רק נדע, אם נדע, להשקיט את זעמנו, אם נדע להשקיט על אף עלבוננו, לומר סליחה, אם נדע להתחיל מההתחלה. כי כולנו, ככולנו, כולנו רקמה אנושית אחת חיה, ואם אחד מאיתנו הולך מעימנו, משהו מת בנו, משהו נשאר איתו.
It is a deep honor to stand before you today, representing the Israel Defense Forces and the people of Israel, as we remember our fallen heroes on this sacred day, Yom Hazikaron. My name is Ariel, and I serve as a company commander in the IDF at Camp 80. I lead a unit of new recruits who are training to become combat support soldiers, the backbone of the military effort. These soldiers may not always carry a weapon into the heart of battle, but they ensure that those who do can fight, function, and return home. Being a commander in the IDF means more than giving orders. It means shaping the next generation of soldiers, instilling values of commitment, discipline, and above all, responsibility. Every soldier under my command is someone's child, someone's sibling, and I carry that knowledge with me in every decision I make. This past year, during Milchemet Haravot Barzel, that sense of responsibility became more real than ever before. On October 7th, I was at home, serving at the time as a deputy company commander. The very next day, I reported to base and didn't stop moving since. From that moment on, I was sent on countless missions across different parts of the country, along multiple borders, wherever help was needed. 2 months into the war, I began a commander's course, and shortly after, I officially took command of my own company. Leading a company in wartime is not something you can fully prepare for. You find yourself responsible not just for tasks, but for people. Each one with their own story, their own fears, and their own courage. Among my soldiers was one young man whose sister, Mia Shem, had been kidnapped by Hamas. Supporting him and watching him choose to keep serving, despite the unimaginable pain, was one of the most powerful experiences I've had in my military service. It deeply affected me and my entire staff. His strength became our strength. His story reminded us what we were fighting for. Leading during a time of war has taught me the true meaning of resilience, both in others and within myself. It has shown me that even in our darkest hours, we carry each other. One of the following we remember today is Staff Sergeant Ido Baruch, who was killed in October 2022 while on operational duty near Jenin. He was just 21 years old. Ido was a soldier in the Givati Brigade, known for his courage and for the way he inspired those around him, not through speeches, but through quiet strength and example. Ido Baruch was not just a name on a memorial wall for me. He was someone I knew personally. He was the boyfriend of my best friend, and through her, he became a part of my life too. What stood out the most about Ido was his deep sense of compassion. He always saw people, really saw them, and made it his mission to help, to support, and to lift others up. He was the kind person who didn't need to be asked. He just acted, quietly and kindly, because that's who he was. Even after his passing, I continue to learn from him. I carry his values with me, the way he looked out for others, the way he lived with purpose. In many ways, I try to walk in his footsteps, honoring his legacy through the way I lead, the way I serve, and the way I live. Standing here today, thousands of miles from home, I feel the strength of our people, not just in uniform, but in spirit. The unity we feel on this day transcends borders and time zones. Thank you for being here with us. Your presence reminds us that we are never alone, that the Jewish people, no matter where we live, share a bond of memory, resilience, and hope. May the memory of our fallen be a blessing. Yehi Zichram Baruch. Toda Rabba.
Some people want it to happen. Some people wish it would happen. Others make it happen. That was Nathaniel Young's favorite motto. It wasn't just something he believed in. It was how he lived his life. Nathaniel wasn't born in Israel. He chose Israel. And that choice to not only love this land from afar, but to show up for her, defined everything about him. Nathaniel was just 20 years old, a lone soldier in the elite Golani 13th Battalion, one of the IDF's most decorated and courageous units. Born and raised in London, the youngest of 5, he dreamed from the age of 10 of making Aliyah and serving in the IDF. In 2022, he made that dream happen. His dream wasn't just for himself. He dreamed that one day his parents would join him and his siblings in Israel too. Nathaniel was stationed at the Yiftach outpost close to Zikim Beach on the fateful morning of October 7th. As rockets rained down and the air raid sirens blared, Nathaniel didn't rush for shelter. He rushed to save a life. A female soldier, Naama, was on duty at the entrance to the base. Knowing the dangers, Nathanael and his comrades rushed out to rescue her, to bring her to safety. They were ambushed by a large number of Hamas terrorists who had infiltrated by land and by sea. Despite being completely outnumbered, Nathanael and his comrades fought with incredible bravery for 1 hour, shooting down at least 30 terrorists before Nathanael, Naamah, and his fellow soldiers were killed. Thanks to their sacrifice, the lives of many soldiers on the base were saved, and the nearby kibbutz Zikim, just minutes away, was saved from infiltration. The courage stopped an even greater tragedy. Nathanael didn't live for himself. He lived and ultimately gave his life for Am Yisrael, for all of us. In the spring of 2023, he had moved into special accommodation for lone combat soldiers, Habayit Shel Benji, Benji's house in Ra'anana, a project JNF Australia has been proud to support, where he built strong friendships and the community adopted him and his fellow residents as family. At just 20 years old, he had already shown more heart, more leadership, and more love for this land than most do in a lifetime. I know Nathanael Young's sister, Gabby Young, very well. She's a dear friend of mine in Tel Aviv. Through her, I got to see the depths of Nathanael's family's love, strength, and commitment to Israel. Nathanael's death was one of the first reported in the media, and he was honored at Har Herzl in Jerusalem with a full military funeral. Despite the threat of sirens and rockets, thousands of people, and I'm not exaggerating, most of them were strangers, thousands came to pay their respects to this young lone soldier who left everything behind in London to come and volunteer in the IDF to protect our beloved country. Even as rocket sirens sounded midway through Gabby's eulogy for her baby brother and people fled for cover, still Am Yisrael showed up and stood firm to honor a hero who had given his life and chosen to fight and die for the future of our people. And then, in one of the most powerful acts of faith and resilience, just 6 weeks after burying their beloved son, Nathanael's parents made Aliyah. They left everything behind in the UK and started anew. They are learning Hebrew in Ulpan now, raising grandchildren in the land that Nathanael loved, living the life he fought for. In fact, since then, they have celebrated the birth of 4 new grandchildren, new life, new beginnings, and a living continuation of Nathanael's dreams. Nathanael lived his dream, and he died a hero. Today, organizations like JNF are proud to stand with Israel, helping rebuild the shattered communities of the South and the North, honoring Nathanael's sacrifice and the sacrifices of so many, by making sure that from the ashes of tragedy, new life and hope will arise. Nathanael lived his life making things happen. He made his dreams real. He made his people proud. He made his sacrifice for all of us. Yehi Zichron Baruch. May his memory be a blessing, and may we be worthy of their sacrifice.
Why do we do it? Look around yourselves. 14, maybe 1,500 people around coming together. Why do we do it? Why is it so important for us to remember? Are we doing it for them, for our heroes? Or are we doing it for ourselves? And how do we do it? How do we remember? How can we keep the memory alive? Well, When it comes to me and to my friendship with Ophir Liebstein, zichrono livracha, who was killed in the morning of October 7th when he was the mayor of Sha'ar HaNegev Regional Council, when he just left his home to protect his own kibbutz Kfar Aza. When it comes to our friendship, it's quite easy for me to remember. Simply because in mid-August 2023, about 6 weeks before October 7th, Ophir went to the US to have some meetings with Jewish communities there, and he was not the only one there, and somehow, one day, he found himself in a car together with my also very good friend Miriam Peretz, the bereaved mother, who is a symbol in Israel, and Shir Modar, who is the chairperson of Abonim Dror movement. And through the conversation, actually they found out that 3 of them are good friends of mine, and they're starting fighting who is the better friend of mine. And Ophir, just like Ophir, said, okay, it's an opportunity to have some fun, and he sent me these voice messages. Now, you do not have to understand Hebrew in order to appreciate and enjoy this voicemail, because Ophir had a smile anyone can hear.
יוסי היקר, לא תאמין, אנחנו פה באוטו, ביחד, ככה. מרים פרץ.
אני לא מאמינה, יוסי, שאתה גם חבר של אופיר. הייתי בטוחה שאתה רק חבר שלי.
ויש פה את שירי מדר.
שירי, אתה יודע מהי שירי בשבילי? אתה לא מבין. יוסי, יש לך מתחרה.
וזוהר מקק"ל.
אהלן, 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 אח שלי, לא ידעתי שאתה יוסי פרץ, אני מכיר יוסי אשל. שנה לך את הדרכון.
ועדי פה מאחורה, שמלדת חמסה.
יאללה, יוסי נשמע נחמד. הבן אדם הכי מיוחד. אני מתה עליו. יוסי היקר.
מוסרים לך אהבה גדולה פה כולם. ביי, אח שלי, ביי.
This was sent to me August 15, 2023. 3 weeks later, my granddaughter was born. I sent Ophir a photo of her with the news, and he sent a few, images of heart. Love you, Mazal Tov. That was the last message I received from him. But as I said, I'm listening to this voice message a few times a week. So to have such a gift when I can remember him smiling, that's the best. Yehi zichro baruch. I want to say something about the video we're just about to watch. A few days ago on Friday, a group of Moriah students went and visited kibbutz Nir Oz, which is one of the kibbutzim that was maybe the most horrible attacks. But this is not only a story about the attack, it's a story of revival, of a hope, of resilience, because the speaker, Izar Lifshitz, who lost his father, Oded, as a hostage in Gaza, when he's leading the group, he's telling them not only the story of the kibbutz, but also the project, the dream, to do something really unique, directly in front of Gaza people. Let's watch.
Welcome to Kibbutz Nir Oz. We will start our tour here. It's going to be hard, but take a breath. These signs say that 1 in 4 kidnap or murder in this kibbutz. This is my lovely father. If you see that it's break, it means that he died inside. If you see there is a heart that is released, and all of the murder or torch or a lot of stuff happened here. I don't know how to explain it, but you know. This is the mailbox for the people in the kibbutz. The red mean murderer. This is the time that you can see what happened really. Ohad Yahalomé, one of the men that kidnapped from the kibbutz. They released him 2 months ago with my father also, after he died inside the Hamas tunnels. The man who kidnapped from this house named Sagi Dekelchen. And as you see all this shooting bullets, there was a fight, he killed 2 of them, he used his own pistol. This is my parents' shelter. They understood that there is many terrorists inside the kibbutz. 5 terrorists get into the house, shoot the door, and start to deliver them to Gaza. This is the famous Bibas family house, Shiri Bibas, the 2 redhead kids that we can see them here. Is also Yarden Bibas, the only member from the Bibas family that survived. The people in the kibbutz believe that we should seek for peace with our neighbors. At this time, the cancer that we call Hamas spread all over, to education, to the police, to the army, to the whatever you said. Many people in the kibbutz say, the results are okay, but we want to see the sea. That's what happened to people that say, we want a peace, now we want to see the sea.
We are going to launch a new college. It's called Midreshet Bina Balev. We are taking graduates of computer science, agriculture, and educational science. And this building behind me, in 3 months, is going to be an artificial intelligence hub. And we are going to do it here, in front of them, to say, we don't believe in dark. There's only a light button. It's important to remember that our spirit will never be desecrated.
My name is Karin Namer. My brother was Asaf Namer, served in the Golani Brigade and was killed in 2006 during the Second Lebanon War. We came to Australia in 1991. Asaf was 12 years old. He built a beautiful life here, surrounded by friends, passionate about music and fitness, and working as a personal trainer. He loved skydiving, snowboarding, and running marathons. Asaf was a kind, gentle soul, the kind of person who didn't need a reason to send his mum or his girlfriend flowers or to stop and help a stranger in the street. Asaf touched so many lives, and much like Netanel, thousands of people attended his funeral. In 2004, at the age of 24, Asaf left his comfortable life in Australia and volunteered for the IDF. He insisted on joining Golani, one of the most elite and dangerous units, because that's where he felt like he belonged. When the Second Lebanon War broke out, Asaf had just days left before completing his service. His commanders told him he wasn't allowed to join the mission into Lebanon. It was considered too risky for a foreign volunteer. But Asaf wouldn't take no for an answer. He insisted that his place was alongside his brothers. 3 days later, He was killed in the Battle of Binchbel, a heroic story now taught to school students across Israel. Asaf was buried on the day he was meant to be released from the army. 8 soldiers were killed that day, and many more were wounded. Commander Roy Klein sacrificed his life by jumping on a grenade to save his troops. Sergeant Shiran Amsili fought alone for hours to protect the wounded. He was later awarded the IDF's highest medal for bravery. This battle shows us what true courage looks like and what real heroes look like. Since that day, my family has been part of the Golani family. And heartbreakingly, since October the 7th, that family has grown. Yom Hazikaron has always been difficult, but this year, even more so. We followed the news for weeks and months, hearing the stories of survival and unimaginable pain. The feelings were and still are overwhelming. My heart is with the families of the hostages who are still in captivity. So many have already lost loved ones, and with no time to grieve, they continue to fight to bring their loved ones home, and I think of them every day. As the IDF responded, Golani soldiers were once again amongst the first on the front lines. When we saw the faces of the young soldiers who fell, our hearts ached. It's pain that my family and I know too well. Yet, even through heartbreak, we saw something extraordinary. Israelis and Jews around the world coming together to serve, to protect, to volunteer. This is the real spirit of the Jewish people, standing united and strong in times of darkness. Today, as I remember my brother Asaf and all those who gave their lives defending our country, I also feel immense pride. Since October the 7th, 114 Golani soldiers have fallen. We honor them today, and we will never forget that it is thanks to them that we can be Am Chofshi Be'artzenu, a free people in our land. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Shalev Lonsini. I'm 19 years old from Haifa, Israel, and currently volunteering as a Shinshin, a year of service for the BJE, Board of Jewish Education, and Hatzofim, the Israel Scouts, here in Sydney. Today, I want to share a story with you. The first time I heard about Captain Dekel Swissa, Hashem Yikom Damo, was during the very first seminar of the Shinshinim program. The Shinshinim program is for young Israelis who, after finishing high school, chose to give back, not only by serving in the army, but also by strengthening Jewish communities around the world. At that seminar, Dekel Swissa family came to speak with us. I learned that Dekel had also been a Shinshin in Atlanta, just as I am now in Sydney. As I listened to the stories, I couldn't help but notice how similar our paths were. Our aspiration to serve in an elite IDF commando unit, our journeys as Shinshinim. Dekel's family told us about his life, his service, and ultimately his sacrifice. I remember sitting there in complete awe, feeling a deep connection to a person I had never met, but instantly admired. I've carried this story with me ever since. For those who haven't heard Dekel's story, on the morning of October 7, when the first RPG struck Paga Post, Dekel, then the only officer on base, didn't hesitate. In that moment, he stepped up and became the base commander. The weight of responsibility was his alone, and he embraced it with courage. For over 4 hours, under relentless attacks and heavily outnumbered, Dekel led his soldiers with fierce determination. He refused to let the enemy take control. At a critical moment, he made the brave decision to call in an airstrike on the enemy's position. Even in his final moments, while helping an injured comrade, Dekel continued to fight, eliminating 5 more terrorists before making the ultimate sacrifice. Later, as I learned more about Dekel, I discovered something that hit even closer to home. Dekel had been in the same school class as my older brother. It reminded me just how real, how close, and how personal this all is. It's because of heroes like Dekel and so many others who gave their lives for our country that I feel the honor and responsibility to serve in a combat unit in the IDF. I go with complete belief in the values they fought to protect. Dekel's legacy lights the path forward for all of us. May his memory be a blessing. Yehi zichro baruch.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yoav Rubin. I'm 19 years old, and I'm here in Sydney as well as part of the Shinshinim program. I remember the first time my brother told me about Eli. He said there was this guy in his team, Eli, who in the middle of the night showed up doing my brother's guard duty. It was Eli's time to rest, but instead of sleeping, he walked from post to post just to sit with his mates so they wouldn't feel alone. That was the kind of person he was. What stood out the most was his smile. Not the kind you have when life is easy, but the kind that stays even when things are hard. A quiet, simple smile that lifted others. Eli Garcia was born in France. He studied law. During university, he joined a birthright trip to Israel, something many of us here can relate to. The trip changed him. He made the decision to leave everything and move to Israel. He came alone, no family. He became a lone soldier. Eli joined the paratroopers, where he met my brother. They became close friends. He could have left the army early, like many lone soldiers. He could have taken a break just before October 7th, when he was due to be released, but he chose to stay with his team. That day, they fought in Kibbutz Be'eri. They entered the house full of terrorists. And just before going in, Eli chose to lead his team through the back door, not knowing the front door was rigged with explosives. 7 soldiers came out alive because of him. My brother was one of them. My brother came home alive, but Eli didn't. Eli was killed that day, fighting bravely in Be'eri. That's why this story is so personal to me. Eli's bravery, his kindness, his presence, they remind me what it means to show up for others. He came from a community just like this one. He lived a life just like yours, and yet he felt deeply connected to something bigger, to his people, to Israel. So when I think of Eli, I don't just remember a soldier. I remember a friend. I remember a smile. And in hard moments, when it all feels too much, I try to do what Eli did best. I try to smile. And soon, when I return to Israel and enlist the army, I'll carry that smile with me. Eli's courage, his quiet strength, and his choice to stand by others, they'll be with me every step of the way. May his memory be a blessing. Yehi zichro baruch.
אני הולך לבכות לך, תהיה חזק למעלה. געגועי כמו דלתות שנפתחות למעלה. לנצח אחי, אזכור אותך תמיד, וניפגש בסוף, אתה יודע. ויש לי חברים, אבל גם הם קווים, אל מול אורך המשגע. כשעצובים הולכים לים, לכן הים מלוח, וזה עצוב שציוד אפשר להשאיר לא געגוע. לנצח אחי, אזכור אותך תמיד, וניפגש בסוף, אתה יודע. ויש לי חברים, אבל גם הם קווים, לנצח אחי, אזכור אותך תמיד, וניפגש בסוף, אתה יודע. ויש לי חברים, אבל גם הם קווים, אל מול אורך המשגע. לבכות לך, תהיה חזק למעלה.
Shalom everyone. Tonight we gather not just as individuals and not just as members of different youth movements, but as a united Jewish community. We come from diverse backgrounds, we wear different chutzot, and we may even hold different political views. But tonight, those differences fall away. What binds us together is a far greater, a deep love for Am Yisrael, an unwavering belief in Zionism, and a commitment to our people's past, present, and future.
As we stand here, many of us are in our late teens or early 20s. At our age, in Israel, our peers are putting on their army uniform, standing guard at our borders, or mourning their friends who never came home. Yom Hazikaron is not theoretical, it is deeply personal. It reminds us that those who fell were not so different from us. They laughed, led, learned, and loved, just like we do. And they made the ultimate sacrifice for our homeland.
In our youth movements, we often talk about values, leadership, and responsibility. But days like today teach us what those words truly mean. The heroes we remember tonight live those values, not in theory, but in action. And as madrachim, we carry the responsibility of passing that legacy forward. We educate, not just to remember the past, but to shape a future rooted in strength, compassion, and Jewish pride.
Each of our movements have chosen to remember someone who walked the same path as we do now, a madrich, a chanich, a friend, a family member. These are not distant names, they're stories, memories, and lives cut short. Tonight we honor them, not only for how they died, but for how they lived, with passion, purpose, and love for our people. We carry their memory in our programs, our peulot, and in the hearts of the chanichim we lead.
While our movements differ ideologically, we will all educate toward a strong common dream, a vibrant and secure Jewish future, rooted in the land and people of Israel. Our programs, camps, and seminars, they are not mere activities. They are intentional choices towards Zionism. We are preparing the next generation to lead with courage and conviction, inspired by the heroes we remember tonight.
Since October 7th, we've seen how fragile life is and how powerful unity can be. Together, our youth movements have shown up. We've supported each other, stood against anti-Semitism, and created spaces of belonging and pride. On this night of remembrance, we are reminded that solidarity is not just a choice, it is a necessity, and it is our greatest strength.
We now take a moment to speak the names of those we honor tonight, individuals chosen by each of our movements. May their memories be a blessing, and may their stories continue to guide us. Itai Peri, Noah Lazar, Tamar Kedem, Jonathan Deutsch, Nitai Metodi, Ronnie Ganizit, Yitzhar Hoffman. We remember them, we learn from them, and we promise to live lives worthy of their sacrifice. Yehi Zichram Baruch.
As we come to the close of tonight's commemoration, on behalf of the board of the Zionist Council of New South Wales, I want to offer heartfelt thanks. To JNF Australia, our event partner, thank you for standing with us in remembrance and in hope. Zikaron v'tikva. Your support has helped bring tonight's Yom Hazikaron ceremony to the whole community of New South Wales, not only to all of us here in this room, but also to regional community members across the state who are watching via the live stream. We thank you, JNF, for your support. To Central Synagogue, to Rabbi Wolf, to Rabbi Nyasov, thank you for your participation and for opening your beautiful shul to our community tonight. And to UIA, our major sponsor, thank you for standing alongside the Zionist Council always. To His Excellency, Ambassador Amir Maimon. Ambassador Amir, you have been a true friend to me, a chaver to the Zionist Council of New South Wales and to the entire Australian Jewish community. Through the darkest hours and also in Israel's moments of strength, your leadership, your humanity, they have shone through. And as you prepare to leave Australia, we honour the bond that you have built with our community, a connection that will remain strong wherever your journey takes you. You'll always be part of our mishpacha, our family here in New South Wales. Toda. To all of our beautiful speakers, from my heart to yours, Ari Schlesinger, Simone Brill, Dvir Tovi, Ariel Kahan, Sarah Vanunu, Karin Namer, Shalev Leonzini, Yoav Rubin, and our CEO Yossi Eshed. Your heartfelt sharing brought memory to life. You allowed us in, you allowed us to see and to feel and to remember that every person is a whole world. Thank you for allowing us into their worlds. Thank you to our musicians, Ben Goldstein, Or Ben Omri, Noi Ben Ami, Amit Benita, and to Rabbi Nyasov. Through music and prayer, you helped us express what cannot be said in words. And to Yossi Eshed, our extraordinary CEO, and Shana Slotar, our event planner, your devotion, your professionalism, and your love for this community are woven into every detail of tonight. Mamash mamash toda. Thank you, as always, to the hardworking teams at CSG and CHS for always keeping us safe. And I'd also like to thank the politicians who have come tonight to stand shoulder to shoulder with our community. The Honourable Susan Carter, the Honourable Damien Tudhope, and Wentworth candidate Ro Knox. Ro, with the election so close, thank you for making the time. Now tonight, of course, we also hold in our hearts those still missing, the 59 hostages still held captive in Gaza. Each of the presumed alive, the 24, are a whole world, waiting to come home, and we pray for their safety, we pray for their release, and for the day that they are welcomed back into the arms of their loved ones. Tonight, I draw on the beauty of the Hebrew language to express a truth that binds us, and I'm using 4 words: Yachad, Yichud, Yachid, and Meyuchad. Yachad together, Yichud united, Yachid each life utterly unique, and Meyuchad special. We are a people of brilliant individuals, each one of us unique, each one extraordinary, and it's our togetherness, our unity, our Zionism, and the bonds between us that make us truly special. All these words, they all come from the same root, or shoresh, Yud, Chet, Daled, Yachad. And it's from that root of togetherness that our strength grows. It's from this deep knowing of the value of every single soul that our resilience is born. To be Zionist is to be resilient. Tonight we are also standing with Israel's reservists, tens of thousands of ordinary men and women who have left behind their families, their studies, their work, to defend the people and to defend the land they love. For many, this service has stretched to 300 or 400 days, and the burden they carry weighs on all of Israel's society. Shops are quieter, universities are emptier, and families are waiting. Across Israel, resilience is not a slogan, it's lived each day in acts of quiet courage and sacrifice. And here in Sydney, so far from Israel, yet bound to her with all our hearts, we gather to fulfill this sacred duty, to honour, to remember the 25,420 soldiers and the 5,229 victims of terror, each one a precious soul whose memory we carry forward. In their honour and in memory of those we have lost, we remember. Am Yisrael Chai.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea, our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair, in joyful strains, and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
כל עוד בלבב בנימה, נפש שאורי הומיה, ולפתי מזרח קדימה, עין לציון סופיה. עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000.